Open your eyes. The soft glow of sunrise pours through massive stone windows. You aren't lying in your own bed anymore. Instead, you're surrounded by silk blankets embroidered with gold thread. Servants quietly kneel beside your bed. One of them whispers, "Your Majesty, the council awaits." You blink in confusion. Yesterday, you were living an ordinary life. Today, you're the most powerful person in an entire kingdom. Outside your palace, thousands of people are already awake. Blacksmiths hammer glowing iron. Farmers lead oxen into the fields. Merchants prepare their wagons for another day of trade. Every one of them believes one thing: their future depends on you. As you step onto the palace balcony, an enormous city stretches to the horizon. Stone walls surround crowded streets. Smoke rises from hundreds of homes. Colorful market stalls fill the central square. Suddenly, trumpets echo across the kingdom. Soldiers stand at attention. The palace gates swing open. Thousands of citizens bow their heads. Not because they know you, but because you wear the crown. And in ancient times, the crown wasn't just a symbol of power. It was a symbol of responsibility. One bad decision could mean famine. Another could start a war. And one wrong person trusted inside the palace could end your life before sunset. Most people dream about becoming king. But after today, you might never wish for it again. Welcome to your first day as ruler. Your royal advisor enters the throne room carrying a stack of scrolls. Good morning, Your Majesty. Before breakfast, there are 12 problems that require your decision. 12? You haven't even had time to understand where you are. The first scroll reports that a nearby river flooded several villages. Hundreds of families have lost their homes. The second reveals that the royal treasury is running dangerously low. The third warns that spies from a neighboring kingdom were seen near your border. Then comes a merchant demanding lower taxes. A general asking for more soldiers. A judge requesting permission to execute a convicted criminal. And finally, a messenger rushes into the throne room. He kneels before you. Your Majesty, our northern watchtower has spotted an unfamiliar army marching toward our border. The entire room falls silent. Every noble watches your face. They're waiting, not for someone else, for you, because that's what being king truly means. Not wearing expensive clothes, not living in a palace. It's making impossible decisions, every single day. And the worst part? No matter what you choose, someone will think you made the wrong decision. Before you can even process everything, the palace doors burst open once again. This time, the news is even worse. A neighboring king has sent you a message. It contains only 6 words. Prepare your kingdom for war. The throne room becomes completely silent. Every pair of eyes is fixed on you. The messenger remains kneeling, waiting for your command. The letter from the neighboring kingdom lies open in your hands. Prepare your kingdom for war. You have 3 choices. The first, attack before they attack you. If you strike first, you might catch your enemy off guard. But if you're wrong, history will remember you as the king who started a needless war. The second, strengthen your defenses. Raise the city gates. Train more soldiers. Stockpile food. This is the safest option. But it also tells your enemy you're preparing for conflict. The third, attempt peace. Send ambassadors with gifts and negotiate before swords are ever drawn. It sounds wise, but peace can also be a trap. An enemy may smile across the table while secretly preparing an invasion. This wasn't like modern diplomacy. In ancient times, kingdoms often survived, or disappeared, based on the judgment of one ruler. You take a deep breath. Instead of sending soldiers, you send your wisest diplomat. Along with him, you send gold, grain, and a message. A kingdom grows stronger through trade than through war. Now, all you can do is wait. But while everyone focuses on the border, danger is quietly growing much closer to home. Inside your own palace, people imagine that being king means endless luxury. Golden crowns, huge feasts, comfortable beds, and servants waiting on every command. Some of that is true. But very few people see what happens behind palace walls. Every meal you eat is tasted by someone else first. Because poison is one of the oldest weapons in history. Every visitor entering the palace is searched. Every guard has been chosen for loyalty. Even your closest advisors are constantly watching one another. Trust becomes your rarest treasure. After breakfast, you tour the palace. Massive stone halls stretch in every direction. Beautiful gardens bloom beneath marble statues. The royal library contains thousands of handwritten scrolls filled with knowledge collected over generations. Yet despite all this beauty, you can never truly relax. A king is never alone. Every conversation could be overheard. Every smile could hide an agenda. Even family members have been known to compete for power in many ancient kingdoms. As you pass one of the palace balconies, you notice 2 nobles speaking in hushed voices. The moment they see you, they stop talking. One quickly forces a smile. The other avoids eye contact. It could mean nothing, or it could mean everything. Late that evening, Your most trusted captain of the guard quietly enters your private chamber. He locks the door behind him. Without saying a word, he places a folded piece of parchment on your desk. Inside are only a few lines. Someone inside the palace plans to remove the king. No names, no evidence, just a warning. You look around your chamber. The same room that felt luxurious this morning now feels like a prison. Who can you trust? Your advisor? The nobles? Your generals? Even the captain standing before you? The next morning, you decide to test everyone's loyalty. During a council meeting, you announce something shocking. Tomorrow, I will personally inspect the eastern border. It's a lie. You simply want to see who leaks the information. Throughout the day, you secretly watch the palace. One noble immediately sends a messenger. Another disappears into the city without explanation. A third quietly burns a letter in the palace fireplace. Someone is hiding something. That night, you disguise yourself as an ordinary citizen and leave the palace through a hidden tunnel. You follow one of the suspicious messengers through the sleeping city. He walks past the marketplace, past the city walls, until he reaches an abandoned stone chapel. Inside, several hooded figures are already waiting. You move closer, staying hidden in the shadows. One of them removes his hood. Your heart nearly stops. It's someone you never expected. And before you can see their face clearly, a floorboard creaks beneath your foot. Every hooded figure turns toward the sound. The old chapel falls silent. Every hooded figure turns toward you. For one terrifying moment, nobody moves. Then one voice cuts through the darkness. Who's there? You duck behind a broken stone pillar, holding your breath. Footsteps grow louder. One of the cloaked men is searching for you. He's only a few feet away. You tighten your grip on a small dagger. If he finds you, this could be the end of your reign. Suddenly, thunder echoes across the night sky. The man pauses. He glances toward the doorway. Using the distraction, you quietly slip deeper into the shadows. From your hiding place, you overhear their conversation. The king suspects nothing. Tomorrow, when the city celebrates the harvest festival, we strike. Another voice responds. And what about the neighboring kingdom? Their army will arrive as planned. While the king is distracted inside the capital, the border will be left exposed. Your heart sinks. It wasn't just a rebellion. It was a coordinated attack. Enemies outside your kingdom, and traitors inside your palace, working together. As the meeting ends, one hooded figure removes his cloak. Moonlight reveals his face. It's your own royal treasurer. The man responsible for your kingdom's wealth. The same man who had stood beside your throne every day. You quietly escape through the tunnel and race back to the palace. There isn't much time. Tomorrow could decide the fate of your entire kingdom. Morning arrives, but instead of celebration, another disaster unfolds. Farmers flood into the palace courtyard. Their faces are filled with fear. Months without enough rain have ruined much of the harvest. Food stores are running dangerously low. Children are already going hungry. Your advisors argue loudly. One noble suggests raising taxes to buy more grain. The merchants immediately object. Another advisor wants to seize food from wealthy landowners. The nobles threaten to revolt. The generals insist the army must receive food first. Without soldiers, they say, there will be no kingdom left to defend. Everyone believes they're right. Everyone expects you to choose. You remember the royal granaries built beneath the palace. Emergency food supplies reserved only for the worst of times. This is the worst of times. You order the granaries opened. Bread is distributed throughout the city. The decision costs the treasury millions of gold coins. Some nobles accuse you of weakening the kingdom. But outside the palace walls, families cheer. For the first time since becoming king, you realize something. A ruler isn't judged by how much wealth he keeps. He's judged by how many people survive under his rule. Unfortunately, your enemies have been watching every decision you've made. And they believe you've just shown a weakness. A scout bursts into the throne room. Your Majesty, the enemy has crossed the river. The invasion has begun. Thousands of soldiers march toward your capital. Dust rises across the horizon. War drums echo through the valley. The city erupts into chaos. Blacksmiths forge weapons. Archers race toward the walls. Citizens carry supplies to the defenders. This isn't just your battle anymore. It's everyone's. You climb onto the city walls. Looking across the battlefield, you see banners stretching farther than the eye can see. The enemy outnumbers your army nearly 2 to 1. Your generals recommend staying behind the walls. But you make a different choice. You ride out with your soldiers. Not because you're the strongest warrior, but because people fight harder when they know their king stands beside them. The battle begins. Arrows fill the sky. Shields collide. Swords clash. Hours feel like minutes. Neither side gains the advantage. Then, a horn sounds from the eastern hills. It's your ambassador, the same diplomat you sent days earlier. He returns with reinforcements from an allied kingdom. The enemy realizes they're surrounded. Their formation breaks. Slowly, They begin to retreat. Against all odds, your kingdom survives, but victory comes at a cost. Many brave people will never return home. Weeks pass. The kingdom begins rebuilding. Destroyed homes are repaired. Markets reopen. Children once again fill the streets with laughter. Life slowly returns to normal. One afternoon, you walk through the city without your royal robes. No crown, no guards, just another traveler. People don't recognize you, which means, you finally hear what they truly think. One old farmer smiles. Our king opened the grain stores when nobody else would. A merchant says, trade has never been stronger. A blacksmith adds, he fought beside us instead of hiding behind palace walls. Not everyone agrees. Some nobles still believe you spent too much money helping ordinary people. Others think you should have crushed your enemies more harshly. Then you realize something important. No ruler is remembered because everyone agreed with them. Great rulers are remembered because they made difficult decisions for the good of their people. History doesn't remember perfect kings. It remembers courageous ones. As the years pass, your hair turns grey, your kingdom grows prosperous, and one question remains: when your reign finally ends, how will history remember your name? Years later, the throne room is quiet. The battles have ended, the conspiracies are gone, peace finally fills the kingdom. You walk one last time through the palace gardens. The same gardens where you once worried about betrayal. Now, they bloom with life. You stand on the palace balcony where your journey began. The city below has grown larger, safer, stronger, not because one king was perfect, but because he chose wisdom over pride, compassion over greed, patience over fear. Now imagine, if you really had been born in ancient times, would you have survived your first year as king? Would your people remember you as a hero, a tyrant, or would history forget your name completely? Being king wasn't about wearing a golden crown. It meant carrying the hopes of thousands of lives on your shoulders every single day. So here's the final question. If you had ruled this kingdom, what would your first royal command have been? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed stepping back into history, don't forget to subscribe, because next time, you might wake up as a Roman gladiator, or a Viking explorer, or perhaps, a samurai preparing for his final battle. Until then, long live the kingdom, and we'll see you in the next adventure.
Ah, perfect coffee. Whoa, a subscribe button! Woohoo! Subscribe to Woptus!